Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Town Board Work Session and Special Meeting for March 16th, 2020. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today. We have a little complicated meeting here. As you can see, it's a little bit different than usual. We have two people joining us
Dana, I
remotely.
have bad audio right now.
Okay.
So do I.
I can't hear a word.
Talk into your microphone more.
We have two people join. Can you hear me now, you guys?
I
Yeah.
can hear you.
You can hear me?
Better.
Okay, I'm going to talk right into the microphone. Okay, so thank you for joining us today. We have a new situation. According to Governor Cuomo, we can now have meetings that are accessed remotely, and we have two board members here joining us remotely.
Stay closer to the microphone, please.
Councilwoman Feldman. I mean, I'm like about to eat it. I don't know. I can't get that much closer. Councilwoman Feldman and Councilwoman Meyer, who are joining us remotely. And as you can see, we have Councilwoman Shaw here by my side. So thank you for joining us. We have a difficult conversation about how to continue to provide essential town services in light of the current outbreak of COVID-19, coronavirus, and calls by Governor Cuomo to do whatever is in our power to begin. What about, let me just, excuse me for 1 second. Councilwoman Feldman, Councilman Meyer, if you would both mute your
Dana,
phone.
I can't hear. But
Can you
one word.
mute your phone, please? Liz, can you please mute your phone?
What do you want?
I want you to mute your phone, and I want Greg to mute his phone. And that might make it easier. And then if you can't hear me, come back.
I've muted you.
Can you hear me now? Wait, put your thumb up if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Are they putting their thumbs up or not? No thumbs?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I guess she's not muted.
Yeah, Liz.
No, just leave it. Leave it. Let her do the muting. Let her do the muting. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now? Yes? No? 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 Why don't we call on your phone into the call? And we'll have that, then they'll be able to hear me.
I can't because it's my account. I can't do that. It's my account that's operating this right now.
Oh, okay. So can I call in? Is there a phone number to call into?
No, it's a Skype call, so I have to add you to the call through the Skype account.
I do. Okay, I think we're going to put this back on hold, and we will be back to everybody momentarily. You may not hear us for a few minutes if you're watching at home. Okay, that's because I stopped talking. Can you hear me now, Greg, or not? Greg? Okay, Liz, can you hear me? Now you can hear me? Okay, we'll try it, and hopefully just stay put, and hopefully that'll work. Okay, let's see. Does it go away when you start recording or something like that? I have no idea why it would change anything. Okay. All right. So anyway, in light of the calls by Governor Cuomo to do whatever is in our power to begin limiting contact with others, we have a work session and a special meeting today to move forward with some very basic plans in place to do so. We know that implementing these social distancing measures will help flatten the curve and reduce the spread of the serious virus. To that end, we felt it was important for the town board to gather together and discuss some of our plans moving forward. Of course, the situation is ongoing and changes day to day and even hour to hour, which includes that the governor just made a very important announcement as we were preparing for this meeting. We did not hear, but we have heard what the gist of it was, and we know that that is going to further impact even what we're working on right now. However, we have two resolutions today that have been drafted to impact town operations going forward. They include canceling the upcoming planning board, zoning board, town sessions, as well as town board work sessions, and any other non-essential committee meetings through the beginning of April, and also documenting the town board support of the town supervisor declaring a state of emergency. Before we begin, I would like to ask Council Adana to discuss the parameters of the local state of emergency and what that will mean for the general Austining community.
Under New York State law, Executive Law Section 24, it gives local chief executives of the municipalities the ability to proclaim a local state of emergency. That in and of itself would then give the chief executive additional power and authority when necessary under the circumstances to issue certain orders which could regulate the operations within the town. For instance, establishing curfews or regulating pedestrian and vehicular traffic, regulation and closing of places of amusement and assembly, among other types of orders. You could also, if appropriate, suspend local laws and regulations if necessary to further, limit the extent of the disaster and proceed with the recovery. But just the adoption of the proclamation.
Dana, I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear Christy? Christy,
Hello?
can you hear Christy?
Liz, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Okay. So just declaring a local state of emergency just is the first step in the process that if it should become necessary to promulgate those additional orders on short notice, because as we've seen, circumstances and facts and everything that's going on changes by the minute. This would just be the first step to give that further authority. So it's something the chief executive can do on their own, but it's something that certainly should be a discussion with the town board, which is what we're trying to do right now.
Okay, so now is basically the time that if you have questions, Councilwoman Feldman, Councilman Meyer, Councilwoman Shaw, about what it means to declare a state of emergency, I would like you to ask those now so we can clarify anything for you, and then we can also decide if we're going to move forward. I actually have the authority to declare a state of emergency without the town board, as a town supervisor, as the chief executive officer of the town. However, what we thought would
Lost
be...
you again.
Okay, can you hear me, Liz? Sorry. Councilwoman Feldman, can you hear me? Yes, yes, yes. I'm here. Are you sticking in one place and you're just losing us because of the Wi-Fi? Councilman Meyer, have you been hearing us steadily the whole time? Are we muted? Oh. Councilman Meyer, can you hear us? Can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us because he's not. If you can hear us, Councilman Meyer, can you unmute us and tell us? Because you have us on mute. No? Yes? Councilman Feldman, can you hear us now? Can you hear me? No? This is not a very
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
We certainly wanted to have this via Skype for the benefit of having the public be able to see Councilwoman Feldman and Councilman Meyer. But in the executive order that the governor issued on Friday, one of the laws that was suspended was suspension of law allowing the attendance of meetings telephonically or other similar service. Article 7 of the Public Officers Law, to the extent necessary to permit any public body to meet and take such actions authorized by the law without permitting the public in-person access to meetings and authorizing such meetings to be held remotely by conference call or similar device, provided that the public has the ability to view or listen to such proceeding and that such meetings are recorded and later transcribed. So I think we've made our best effort to do this via Skype, but since it seems to not be working consistently, the board may want to consider just doing this as a conference call.
I would like to consider that, and since I don't know, can you hear me now? Either of my board colleagues. Can you hear me? No? No? Cannot? Okay, that's not good.
I'm sorry to interject, but this morning Rico had Colorado on the phone.
Okay.
At home, and it worked out fine. They just put the mic when he had to, second the motion or whatever.
Just by the phone. Okay. So are you going to, okay, we're going to text them or call them? Okay. So we're just going to, again, take a little break here for a couple of seconds, and we're moving to conference call, okay? So as you could see, best efforts, technology does not always like us, and unfortunately, we are going to move, I'll text them to a conference call. I wonder if they could see that. Okay. If I hold that up, maybe they'll see that.
Liz left.
She left? Okay.
She got it.
Okay. Conference call. All right, you can zoom in on this. Maybe Greg can see that. Okay? Thank you. Okay, Greg, you can hang up. Greg, can you still hear me or not? No? Okay, he can't hear. Okay, so you can hang up on Skype if you can't hear me. Okay. Oh, well, Greg, he can stay if he wants to. I don't know. He could see it. I guess he could see. It doesn't matter. Okay, he can stay. Okay, can you hear me too?
Yes, I can hear you. I couldn't hear a word before.
Okay. Okay, bye. Bye, Greg. We liked your picture, but we're just going to go with your voice now. Okay, we did our best and it didn't work, so we're moving now. So basically, were you able to hear Christy when she was talking a little bit about the state of emergency and giving us authority, or giving me authority basically to make certain decisions? Did you hear that?
Did we hear that?
Yes.
Did you hear Christie's explanation?
I read Christy's explanation
Okay.
in our
Okay.
paper, so I'm up.
Okay, do you have any questions about at this point, we're at questions and discussions. Councilman Shaw, do you have any questions about this? Okay, there's no questions about, we're talking about the state of emergency and also canceling these, the meetings for ZBA, planning board, and any other meetings, non-essential meetings. Do you have any questions about any of these issues or items or resolutions that we're going to consider in special meeting?
Not at this time.
Okey doke. Councilman Meyer.
I am good.
All right. Well, if that's the case, I just wanted to share with the board and the public before we adjourn into our special meeting that we have been working very hard with our department heads for the past week to discuss how we can do our best to continue operations of the town while limiting our staff's interactions with the public and close quarters with one another. I will elaborate on some of these individual discussions, but I anticipate making announcements later this afternoon. And as many of you have heard, the governor earlier today made an announcement requiring local municipalities to reduce their workforce by 1/2 and do everything that they could to limit the ability of people to interact. Basically, that's the bottom line. He might not have said it in those words, but that's where we're going with this. Okay, so may I have a motion to adjourn to special meeting?
So moved.
A
So
second?
moved.
Oh, can I have a second from the phone?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of adjourning to special meeting? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so I think we need a roll call.
Yes.
Okay, Councilmember Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Feldman.
Present. Sorry. Present. It's long.
Here.
Present? Okay. Councilmember
Present.
Meyer.
Present.
Okay. And Supervisor Levenberg.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go a little out of order and start with these two resolutions before I go into announcements.
Okay. So resolution regarding town procedure relating to COVID-19 outbreak. I'm just gonna move this a little bit. Whereas on March 7th, 2020, Governor Cuomo issued an executive order declaring a disaster emergency in the state of New York, Executive Order number 202, with respect to COVID-19. And whereas on March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization characterized COVID-19 as a pandemic, and whereas both travel-related cases and community contact transmission of COVID-19 have been documented in New York and specifically in Westchester County, and are expected to continue. And whereas while the town board is not aware of any positive cases of COVID-19 within the unincorporated town, Westchester County has been heavily affected by the virus. And whereas the town board is charged with protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the town, its residents, and the public. And whereas as a municipality, the town conducts much of its business through meetings of various boards, which meetings are generally required to be open to the public. And whereas the town board desires to minimize the settings in which COVID-19 can be transmitted through close contact among individuals. And whereas on March 13th, 2020, Governor Cuomo issued an executive order continuing temporary suspension and modification of laws relating to disaster emergency, Executive Order 202-1, and specifically suspension of law allowing the attendance of meetings telephonically or similar service. Article 7 of the Public Officers Law, to the extent necessary to permit any public body to meet and take such actions authorized by law without permitting in-person access to meetings, and authorizing such meetings to be held remotely or by conference call or similar service, provided that the public has the ability to view or listen to such proceeding, and that such meetings are recorded and later transcribed. Now therefore be it resolved, the planning board meetings from March 18th, 2020, April 1st, 2020, and April 15th, 2020 are hereby canceled. And be it further resolved, no meetings of the Zoning Board of Appeals shall be scheduled to be held before April 20th. And be it further resolved, no meetings of any of the town's other committees and/or boards shall be scheduled to be held before April 20th. And be it further resolved, the town board work sessions for March 17th, 2020 and April 7th, 2020 are hereby canceled. And be it further resolved, the town board's legislative sessions for March 24th, 2020 and April 14th, 2020 will remain scheduled meetings for the purpose of conducting essential town business, and the town board hereby requests the supervisor's office explore alternate means of conducting these meetings in accordance with Executive Order number 202-1. And be it further resolved, the town board hereby supports the town supervisor proclaiming a local state of emergency in the town of Ossining pursuant to New York Executive Law, Section 24, on the grounds that COVID-19 is a public emergency in the town of Ossining that imperils public safety, and to promulgate any and all local emergency orders authorized by New York Executive Law, Section 24, to protect life and property or to bring the emergency situation under control. And be it further resolved, the town board will revisit this matter at its April 14th, 2020 legislative session to determine if further action must be taken to cancel additional meetings or extend the time during which meetings shall not be held. And be it further resolved, in the event the town board determines based upon competent evidence from the medical community that the transmission of COVID-19 has been contained and it is not a risk to the health, safety, and welfare of the public to hold public meetings, the town board reserves the right to revisit this resolution and amend this resolution as appropriate under the circumstances.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Okay. We have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I forgot to ask for discussion. I assume there was none since we had the opportunity to discuss in work session. Did anybody have discussion before we voted?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We're moving on.
Okay. Resolution establishing policy for canceling meetings of the town's boards. Whereas as a municipality, the town of Ossining conducts much of its business through meetings of various boards that are open to the public, and whereas the town board is authorized to schedule and cancel meetings of the town's various boards, and whereas in certain emergency situations, such as the current COVID-19 pandemic, it may not be feasible, practicable, or safe for a quorum of the town board to convene for the purpose of canceling the meetings of the town's boards, and whereas the town board desires to establish a policy and procedure as to how the town can handle situations where a meeting of the town board must be canceled in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. And now therefore be it resolved, the town board hereby adopts the following policy and procedure. 1, the town has the following boards that are required to conduct business in accordance with New York Public Officers Law, which requires, among other things, holding meetings with a quorum of the board members present in public and with the public having an opportunity to attend the meetings. The town board, the planning board, and the zoning board of appeals. 2, in the general course of operations, it shall be within the jurisdiction of the town board to, by resolution, cancel duly scheduled meetings of the town board, the planning board, and/or the zoning board of appeals when holding said meeting would create an undue risk to public health and safety. 3, in the event that circumstances arise such that the supervisor would be authorized by New York Executive Law, Section 24, to proclaim a local state of emergency in the town of Ossining for the purpose of canceling duly scheduled meetings of the town board, planning board, and/or zoning board of appeals, the town board authorizes the supervisor to do so unilaterally if, in the supervisor's best judgment, holding the meeting would create an undue risk to public health and safety.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I'll just,
I think it's a good idea to
Again, it's this is basically to not have to convene a town board meeting. So if we needed to cancel a planning board meeting or a zoning board of appeals meeting, that we wouldn't have to come together just to do so. Or again, even though we are going to have the ability to meet by conference call, et cetera, and we may also decide that we lift the ban on these meetings, I'll just call it that, meeting restrictions, because of the ability to meet by, by conference call. And if that is the case, and the boards feel that they can substantively continue to do business with the public input, then we will decide to make that change. But right now, we think that the best course of action is to limit all meetings that do usually have substantive public input when we really do not want the public to come together in any way that would help those meetings be what they're supposed to be. So as long as we are not keeping any very, very important business from moving forward, we will do that. If there are any circumstances where we need to consider a change, one circumstance at a time, we will certainly be open to doing that as well.
and I'll just also say, can certainly be revisited by the town board at any point in the future. We wanted to make it a little bit broader because we really don't know the scope of what's going to be going on or how long this is going to be an issue. But it was enacted it's being considered specifically in the context of COVID-19. So once we see this through to when we get back to normal and are having normal meetings, again, the board can certainly revisit it if that's appropriate and decide if they want to change the policy or retract the policy once that immediate need is no longer in effect.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. So with that, I will go into my short announcements, which is that we anticipate sharing a decision about closure of our town offices to the public sometimes this afternoon in conjunction with the Village of Ostining's plans. Please sign up for the supervisor's email blasts on our website at www.townofosning.com. We will also share any new information on the town's Facebook page, website, and with local news outlets. However, I will let you know that the Town of Ossining Court will be closed as of 5 p.m. today, Monday, March 16th, 2020. We believe that all pending cases will be adjourned for approximately 45 days. Please contact the Justice Court at 914-762-8562 if you have specific questions. Please also note that this, too, is subject to further changes as we receive them from the court system. And whatever we do receive again, we will share with you. Our senior nutrition program continues to provide home-delivered meals to seniors. Last week, we made the decision to discontinue congregate meals in our senior program starting on Friday. And we are delivering home meals to those who have requested them. Also, we ask that any seniors, please, that are participating in our program, consider signing up for daily Are You OK calls. Call 762-1350 to sign up. Please, everybody, understand, this is an evolving situation. I don't think anybody knows what the answers are at this point. We are doing our best to look to what is happening globally and act locally. And as we do that, we need everybody's patience, and we ask that everybody, once again, as I did in the update, please do not start lashing out at any particular group. There's nobody really that's responsible for this except for the system that we live in. So it's just, again, human evolution, and we need to consider that and be thoughtful, respectful, and peaceful to one another, no matter who they are, where they have been, where they have traveled. Please take that into account when you think about how you would like to be treated. And I know that that's what we think about here every day in the town. If you do have any questions, you can continue to call the supervisor's office at 762-6001. If we're not in the office, we will either be checking our messages or have our calls forwarded to home accounts. We are working right now on how we can have staggered service so that we can continue to provide all the necessary services in the town that are essential to our public safety and well-being. We appreciate your patience as we do whatever it takes to protect the public health and our staff. May I have a motion to adjourn into executive session for personnel?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Is there anybody that wanted to make any other questions or statement before we go into executive session?
I did want to remind people
Oh.
that the census is taking place right now.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You should have gotten that in the mail, and this is a great opportunity to fill that out and make sure that we're all counted.
I'll just say that again in case it was hard to hear from the phone. Please remember that census numbers, your specific census number that goes to the specific property that you are associated with. The letters went out. I know that I received mine, I think, on Friday. It took me about 5 minutes to fill it out by using my telephone, maybe 10 minutes. But it was somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. Depending on how many people you have living with you, it might be a little longer, or a little shorter, because you have to do it for each person. Please make sure to be thorough and complete with your answers, and do it because if you have nothing else to do, please, you have time to fill out your census, 10 minutes. And that is going to be so critical to continue to make sure that we here in Ossining, in the village, in the town, in Briarcliff, in the school districts, get our share of funding that is apropos to the number of people that live here. Thank you so much. And now let's go back to we had the motion to adjourn to executive session. I think I had a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you so much. Please stay tuned to our website, as mentioned before, for updated information as we go forward. Have a great day, everybody. Be safe.